Wealthy, the basics, love, romance, and partnership. And tonight is session number 4, and we're going to be having a conversation around change versus disappearance. Really empowering conversation. Before we begin, we have a little spoken word to set the tone for the evening. Please enjoy Shani the Poet, the original Sunshine Princess of Poetry.
I'm already legendary. I'm already legendary. I am the essence flowing through the veins of men. And when they, I'm already legendary. I'm already legendary. I am the essence flowing through the veins of men. And when they hear me speak, their hearts begin pumping at unusual speeds, excitement and peace, direct connection to the Almighty. Your ancestors told stories of me. Future generations would have said my poetry was on fleek. And their conscious, well, they already know it about me. Healing through my words. So I'll speak volumes, raising vibrations. So do I have your attention? Have traveled to different planes, other realms, many galaxies. Most can't believe, just to remind you of how amazing you be. I'm already legendary. Here to build bridges and break boundaries. Teach you how to manifest dreams. Teach you lessons in the truth. How to be still and make moves. Yes, I believe in you. So I walk with the spirit of the sun. Release the negativity, so here I come. Brace yourself. Breathe deep. Believe me. Some find it difficult to see, so feel me. Fear free, because what's for you is for you, and what's for me is for me. We cross paths because I'm a part of your destiny. Gave birth to creation. Stand up and walk in your salvation. I am evolution on steroids, breathing life into your soul. Yes, your higher self already knows. So let me fix your crown. Did you hear that sound? You're elevating now. Third eye open. I'll heal their throat chakra so they can quit choking. Done. Words spoken. They said I was broken. I said healing and growing. Pain is attention getting, not a sign of weakness. Elated. Everything about us says that we're already great. We got this. Yes, you got this. You better believe that I got this because I'm already legendary.
Snap, snap, toe tap, already legendary. Now, tonight's workshop change versus disappearance. Games people play just can't. Okay, but games people play the divine prosperity blaster. And let me turn this over to someone who knows what they're doing around here. Diva Robin.
Oh,
Over
I
you.
don't know about that. Well, thank you so much, and thank all of you for joining us tonight for session number 4 of Living Wealthy, the basics, love, romance, and partnership. I am Robin. Please welcome my fellow course leaders, Divas Nikki, Nakia, and Janice, as we continue this 6-part series. The distinctions of love, romance, and partnerships create the space for living wealthy and having our most treasured desires manifested. The intention of this course is for people to create breakthroughs in their ability to create breakthroughs for living wealthy. Haha. Tonight's session is powerful. The intention is that each and every participant creates an occurring world of letting things be. There is a powerful way to listen and participate in the seminar. Here it is. Listen from, what am I committed to having as a breakthrough? And listen from, I will hear exactly what is needed that makes the difference. Let's review our conversation for breakthroughs. Select one of these areas: love, romance, or partnership. Choose a great result you would like to have in that area and the breakthrough you will have. What is the difference between a great result and a breakthrough result? When we say breakthrough, we are looking at it from the context of a scientist, someone doing experimentation, distinct from science. Make sure you're clear about what I just said. We are looking at breakthroughs from the context or the way a scientist looks at breakthroughs. Mr. Webster defines breakthrough as noun, a sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development. We often confuse a great result with a breakthrough, or we don't even recognize or acknowledge a breakthrough because it doesn't look or feel like some preconceived notion. We can have a great result that reflects a breakthrough. However, the result in and of itself is not the breakthrough. The breakthrough is actually in who you're being that produced the great or breakthrough result. A genuine breakthrough result permanently alters the occurring world and who you are being at a fundamental level. Breakthrough results are not predictable. What we are up to is sharing conversations that empower your ability to cause unpredictable results from your intentions, empowering you in living wealthy. The Divas and I are going to share what your fellow participants are getting out of the webinar series. Diva Nikki, what are they saying? Well,
Well, I don't. We may have. Oh, there. Okay, I see Diva
no, that's.
Nikki.
Are you there, Diva
Okay,
Nikki?
I see Diva Nikki, but it looks like we might have a problem with our technology. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in for her. You don't know how hard it is putting those my size 11 in those little bitty slippers that she wears. Uh,
Thank you for doing that. Don't hurt your feet, please.
okay, I got my toe in. Okay,
Okay,
Sam,
that'll do.
Samantha Kepler out of Philadelphia. This
I
is a
got it now.
oh you oh okay all right well Samantha Kepler out of
Yay.
Philadelphia meet Diva
Kepler. Kepler.
Yeah, I've got it now. Technology is
Thank you,
that's
Diva
right.
Nikki.
Ah,
Yay.
all right. So Samantha Kepler out of Philadelphia said that this is a great series. I have loved every session. The new diva, had me in tears. She is so powerful. I am glad you brought Diva Janice to your team. She says I had a huge breakthrough and my dating went from non-existent to my schedule is filled. Give all praise to God and His angel Empress Nakia, the Faith Lady. I listened to Empress Nakia sharing she wanted a breakthrough in dating, and I thought, why not me? I'm a good woman. I'm a single mom who has been raising her son with no help from his father. I bought a house and pay my bills. I'm attractive. What moved me was the way she shared what she wanted without any self-righteousness or making men wrong. She owned it like a power she hadn't been using. Each week I do the assignment the Empress gives us at the end of the seminar. To me, it's the call to action. Get real and get to work. A few weeks ago, I asked, ooh, excuse me. Thank you while I was getting choked up. Thank you while I was getting choked up. A few weeks ago, I asked for a raise. It occurred to me I deserved a raise, and of course, they would give it to me. You see, my current world before this course was on each day, once they recognize your talents, they will pay you what you deserve. So I am always waiting to be recognized, complaining about not being recognized and not getting paid what I deserve. To my surprise, when I went to work the next day, my boss called me into her office. She was in a great mood and she told me how much she appreciated my work. I was taken aback. I felt like a spirit was in the room with us. It seemed like Empress Nakia was screaming in my ear, "You deserve a raise. Tell them." I realized my current world was not my boss's current world of me. Ooh, wow.
Looks like we lost Diva
Yeah.
Nikki, Nikki for a
Yes.
minute. Okay.
I'm afraid so.
And we will get her back to working. But I
Shall I continue?
realized my occurring world was not my boss's occurring world of me. My boss said how much she appreciated my work. Well, I asked for the raise. She said I should have known that was coming. How much? I got my raise. The weird thing is, since that breakthrough, I have been out on 7 dates with 4 different guys. Each of my dates was fun, and two of the men might get a might get a second date. Woo woo. Before that breakthrough, I was resigned that maybe God didn't intend for me to have a man. After that breakthrough, I realized I wasn't letting anyone know what I wanted other than as a complaint. I told a guy I wanted to have a coffee date with him. The guy nearly fell out of his chair. I didn't know who I was. It was fun. Dating never occurred to me as something you did for the fun. Like that would be wrong, or it would be wrong to date if there isn't some, serious intention behind it. God, no wonder I wasn't dating with all that pressure I was putting on myself. I guess you divas would say, what you don't know, you don't know. I bless all the divas and Ronnie B. Is he single? I'm dating. Hey, I'll just say that uh, Samantha, you got your own house and pay the bills. Okay. All right. Thank you. But thank you, Samantha, and divas. Who wants to share a comment?
I'll share a comment. Thank you. This is Diva Nakia, the Empress of Faith. And I just want to say that you, Samantha, are amazing, absolutely powerful, a dominant queen. You saw something for yourself. You created from nothing. You recognized your ability and potential, and you went for it without any reservations. So, if nothing else could be considered a breakthrough, you got it. And I am utterly at awe for your awesomeness. And yes, claim it, honey. You are attractive. You have your own house. You pay your bills. And you're raising your son divinely as you would have intended to. And yes, indeed, you are a good woman. So enjoy the fruits of your labor. Thank you. Much love.
All right.
What a powerful acknowledgement. Wow.
Wow.
And so right on. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yes, hi, Ronnie. This is Janice. What I would like to say is kudos to Samantha, and I most certainly underline everything that Empress of Faith, Nikia, said. There comes a time when you just have to introduce yourself to the world. You can't wait for people to recognize what you bring to the table. It's not being braggadocious, but just stepping up and exhibiting your magnificence because that's who God created you to be and what you have, your talents, your gifts. They're there for you to share and for them to be on display because it's a testament of His goodness. Your goodness is a testament of His goodness. So have as much fun as you will allow yourself to have and be happy.
I like that. It just be happy. Wow. Uh, Diva Robin.
Hi, I'm here. I have another I have another email from Tiffany.
No,
I
no,
hope
no. I
I
mean,
say
did you
this.
have? I want before we get to
Oh,
that.
comment?
Right? Did you want to comment on
Well,
Samantha?
I have a comment. Um,
You don't have to have a comment.
well, I just love. I mean, just that it. I really see that there was a genuine breakthrough there. Partly because um, it spread over more than one area of life. That's an
Hmm.
indicator. That indicates it's a real breakthrough, not just an insight or a great result. And the shift was so radical, from being disempowered to saying, yeah, a couple of these guys might get another date if they're lucky. You know, it was a completely different place to come from. So who she was being really shifted, and it was very obvious. Great, great work.
Hmm. Wow. Did we get Diva Nikki back? Okay, we're still working on her technology there. But one thing that stood out for me was that she said that before that breakthrough, she was resigned, that God didn't intend for her to have a man. And I'm like, okay, uh, don't be God blaming. You know, don't be out there God blaming. And that's just that's from my own faith and spiritual. Don't be God blaming. God wants you to have. I love what Janice said. Your greatness, your magnificence to be on display. And you can be the greatest, but if you hide in a cave, and you may have barriers, and that's what we do is that keep that magnificence from shining through. So, but don't be God blaming. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that,
Robin, over to you for the
Steve.
next email.
Amen. Thank you. The next email is from Tiffany Klasolek. I hope I'm saying that right. From Las Vegas. I just wanted to give Diva Janice a hug. She let it all hang out. That takes courage. I was inspired. Everybody is trying so hard to either be politically correct or not be politically correct. Someone being authentic and vulnerable is a shock to the system. That's why I like these courses. You have us work on our minds instead of explaining our minds. I studied neuroscience, so I was always listening to the course to see what lined up with what I had already learned. Well, last session, when you spoke about working like a scientist, my head literally exploded. I finally got it. Sure, there are aspects of what you are teaching teaching us I can relate to neuroscience, but this ain't neuroscience. Then it hit me you have a cleverly designed conversation that has people use conversations to train their minds. Then it hit me knowing that makes no difference. I could hear Diva Nikki. Brilliant, right? I could hear Divas Nikki and Nakia saying, do the work. And the work is integrating these conversations in our lives. So brilliant. I took on Diva Nakia's prosperity assignment about doing it now. Under the category of romance, I wrote, forgiving my ex-husband for leaving me for another woman. During that time, I was drinking heavily and not being a very good wife. I blamed him for everything. What I didn't know was how much not forgiving him was costing me in having a romantic relationship. I called him, and instead of forgiving him, I asked him to forgive me. Excuse me. Talk about dead silence. I asked him again. He said, Tiffany and I excuse me, Tiffany, I am so glad and blessed you called. I love you. I always pray for you to be happy and find a true love. I just broke out in tears and sobbed on the phone for what seemed like hours. At the end of our call, I was shaking, and then a calm came over me. Peace. I had a breakthrough, and it felt like peace. Ladies, I can analyze the seminars or try to figure out how you make it work, all to avoid doing the work. That's crazy. Thank you, Divas. Well, I say thank you, Tiffany. Divas, who will share first?
Now that I'm done choking up, this is
Yeah,
Diva Nikki back. Oh my gosh. Um, I
yeah.
want to say that was huge for her to call her ex-husband and ask him to forgive her.
And
That to do something like that is so humbling
yeah, it was incredibly
and
moving.
powerful.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So it's so brilliant and insightful on her part, as well as courageous, don't you think? Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
absolutely.
Totally agree.
Plus, this is Janice. Plus, she released herself. Many times we wait for an apology, and it's not to say that we're not due one, but if it doesn't come, then what? Do we continue to function in the arena where you owe me something versus then understanding when we forgive someone, we release ourselves because
Yes.
we're the one holding on to the pain. Many times they've moved on from the transaction, but we hold on to the level of hurt and betrayal, and we stay stuck. So I commend her 100%, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, well said. Really well said. Thank you.
One of
Any
the
other?
things that
Yeah, go ahead.
Diva Nakia uh, did did you want to share anything right quick? Okay, I was
I was
just
just
typing
being
it, but yeah, I was really which is how many it took me to how many times have I held on to I I'm owed an apology. And as Janice said, I'm in that context of I'm old. And when I let go of whatever it is, the resentment, the upset, and you or whatever hurt that was really there, uh, and I make that call, I have found myself so often calling to forgive someone, and I ended up saying, you know what, I was calling to add, to say I forgive you, but I need to ask you to forgive me for being so arrogant that I wasn't being responsible for my role and what was going on. So that's what was present for me.
Yeah, yeah, really wonderful. This is Robin, and I also just want to add that um, after years, um, I called my ex-husband, and who I considered to have been um, really verbally abusive, and I still maintain that that's the case. And yet, I was giving it back too. And I also, what I called and did was actually thanked him because, first of all, for what I learned and how I grew as a result of our interactions, and also his generosity because even though there was kind of mayhem going on, um, he supported me through graduate school, and I don't know if I would have or could have done it had it not been for him. And I had never thanked him. And when I did it, guess who got to be free? Well, first of all, he cried, and he said he'd. It was interesting. He said he'd been wishing for that. So it was a gift that I gave him. But I'm the one who got free, just like you were saying, Diva Janice.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Amazing how that works.
it's so beautiful. Thank you. So shall we go over to Janice for the next email?
It sounds good to me.
All right.
Oh, y'all couldn't hear me? Okay, well, go ahead.
Oh, not now we can hear you. Viva Nakia, go ahead and share, please.
Yes, I just wanted to say something quickly. Um, a lot of the breaks we get, uh,
Viva Nakia, you faded away on us.
hear me? Okay,
Go
well, just
for
go
it.
ahead and go. Can you hear me?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I was just saying that a lot of the work that we do, the breakthroughs that we get, it starts with forgiveness, and that's a lot to do with forgiveness for ourselves, for either the actions or inactions that we've taken, and forgiving others and going to those individuals or that individual humbly. It could be a situation, and we just have to forgive ourselves from the experience and for the situation, whether we were the cause or not. And it creates a new clearing for us, a new space that there's a level of freedom and a level of peace that is received. So at that point, we're able to begin anew. And we're really able to be open to the sharing of the other person and the listening of the other person and that person listening to us. So we can really begin to have a really an authentic and genuine relationship, however that is. And sometimes don't be surprised. That could be the first and only and final conversation that you have with a person. But other times, it can create something that is lifelong and life lasting. So I applaud you for taking the bold action. I applaud you for being transparent and vulnerable and taking that risk that was needed in order to get in that space and to have that real conversation with your ex husband. So I honor you in your actions and in your boldness and in your audaciousness. And thank you for your willingness to share because so many people are looking at similar experiences and haven't, are not sure, are not confident enough yet to take those steps. And you are a catalyst for so many people to say, my turn. Thank you.
Wow, that was well worth waiting for. Thank you. Yeah, forgiveness is a gift to everyone. So, Diva Janice, on to you for the next email.
Thank you,
Thank
Diva
you,
Robin.
Dita Robin.
Our next email comes from Charles Oglesby from Seattle, and he writes, Diva Robin, my wife and I love when you shared about the breakdowns and the breakthroughs you've had in your marriage. What we are learning is we are both 100% responsible for our love, romance, and partnership in our relationship. I really love this. He says 100%, not 50-50, but 100%. Awesome. As much as I love my wife, I can't make her love me. That is 100% her choice. Well said. The same for me. I am 100% responsible for my love for her. She can't make me love her. It's my choice. We have decided that the Divas and Ronnie B are mad scientists. Oh, this is so wonderful. Kudos for divine love, and the conversations are your experiments for creating breakthroughs with people. My wife and I realized from the conversation about breakthroughs, we didn't know what a breakthrough in romance would look like. Oh, this is a great testimony. What my wife said next was our breakthrough. Maybe the breakthrough is doing the experiment to have a breakthrough. I think that's worth repeating. He said, his wife said, maybe our breakthrough is doing the experimenting to have a breakthrough. Now, Diva Robin, we have a great marriage, and our lives had become routine. Our kids are grown, and our grandkids are almost grown. It is time for us to start experimenting with life again. We are finally going to take a trip to Alaska and see the whales, just us, and experiment like young lovers again. Well, Charles, be young at heart, darling. Now, listen, our current world is wonderful. Thank you. Charles, this was so beautiful. And we thank you for sharing and allowing the audience to be a part of your experimenting and the breakthrough that you and your wife experienced. And before we move on, I want to share with our divas for any comments.
Hi, this is
Ladies?
Diva Robin. Yes, hi. Can you hear me? I just want to acknowledge our participants for your brilliance and courage to use what you hear not as just interesting stories or something to admire, but as genuine inspiration for your own actions in your own lives. And I want to thank you deeply for allowing us to contribute to you. It is a joy. Brilliant, brilliant work.
Yeah, I just one of the things that stood out for me was his wife saying, maybe the breakthrough is doing the experimenting to have a breakthrough. And so many of us, we really have great lives. We do. We have great lives. Our loved ones are fine. We're you know kids are great, and all of that can become routine. Now, uh, for who you are, it becomes a routine. And a routine turns into a rut. And another word for rut is an open ended grave. And,
Ouch.
and what happens is your relationship gets into a rut, it's in the graveyard. You got to do something quick. But you can, it's just brilliant what your wife said. The breakthrough is doing the experimenting to have a breakthrough. Because whatever that is will be unpredictable. The nature of a breakthrough is unpredictability. Now, as we said, that's different from a great result. Now, the great result may be like, hey, no way, I thought I'd really have that great result. But you did think that great result existed. Unpredictable is, whoa, I didn't know that result. I didn't even know about that result. And I hope you enjoy your trip to Alaska to see the whales. That is just so wonderful. And keep experimenting. And that's all I got to say.
And take lots of pictures, lots and lots of pictures to capture the moment, because there's something magical about being in that moment and the expressions. And when you look at the toil that's no longer present in your relationship, it becomes more enriched. So just enjoy it to the fullest. Any other divas?
Sure, Diva Nikki. I love when he shared that they are 100% responsible for what happens and for the love in their relationship and in their marriage. Not like Diva Janet said, not 50%, but 100%, as that it is a choice. Love is a choice. Forgiveness is a choice. Hate is a choice. Unforgiveness is a choice. We have more power in our intentions and our choices than what we give ourselves credit and take responsibility for. And being responsible is all about the intention and the choice. So I thought I just love how he touched on that.
Yeah, it was so powerful. It really is.
Okay, this is Diva Nakia. So I just want to share how Charles got into her space and really got on there with her and listened to her and trusted her position and was like, okay, let's do this. I got how she was present with him and listening for that opportunity and that space that allows her to engage with him at a completely different level. And their relationship, their breakthroughs in their relationships, and their ability to create from nothing and go to Alaska now, right? Because they decided to trust each other in their actions, in their opinions, and in their views. And I feel they will continue to do the work, and it will be seen by all those that they impact, and people will ask the question and want to know, what's so different? How did you get there? And I got to have what you got. And that in itself is amazing.
I agree 100%. This is just so beautiful. Okay, thank you once again, Charles. And ladies, this has just been beautiful as usual. So enriching that we get a chance to share with the general public. We don't know where people are in their faith walk, or things they're just struggling with, or perhaps triumphing in. But we get a chance to be a part of their community, and we say thank you for tuning in. Now we're going to take a 5-minute break, and on the other side, we're going to deal with change versus disappearance. This is going to be a powerful one as well. So make sure you come back in 5 minutes. My time is Eastern Standard Time, which will be approximately 6:59, and for those of you in Central Time, it will be 5:49. I'll see you then.
Revelation, hope and possibilities awaken me to glorious revelations of the divine. After the crucifixion of Jesus, his stunned students were bereft. They had no idea they were about to witness a glorious revelation of the divinity in every human being. All seemed lost. At times, we, too, may feel that sense of hopelessness when life as we knew it has ended. It can feel unsettling not knowing what's coming next. Imagine how the disciples could have relaxed, even rejoiced, had they known they were about to see physical death revealed as nothing but transition to a new form. We, quote, die to some aspect of life that has been obstructing our true self so that we can move forward with more freedom than ever before. I hold to the possibility that I will awaken to a glorious revelation of the divine. Not a hair of your head will perish. By your endurance, you will gain your souls. Luke 21:18-19.
Everybody's pretty when they Everybody's pretty when they Everybody's pretty when they She talks and talks and talks, but he's not listening. He's just looking around for something easy right now. 'Cause everybody's pretty when they know it's okay, it's alright. Everybody's pretty when they know it's okay, it's alright. Everybody's pretty when they know. He takes and takes and takes, but something in his head can't understand why. He don't want easy right now. 'Cause everybody's pretty when they young. It's okay, it's alright. Everybody's pretty when they young. It's okay, it's alright. Everybody's pretty when they're young. He wishes he never met her. There's not a damn thing he can do to forget her. Oh, and everything was fine before he knew her. Now nothing is fine now that he wants her. But he can't have her. 'Cause everybody's pretty when they're young. Everybody's feeling the mayor. It's okay, it's alright. Everybody's feeling the mayor. It's okay, it's alright. Everybody's feeling the mayor. He talks and talks and talks, but she's not listening.
Welcome back to the webinar for tonight, and we are going to move right along to our first conversation with Diva Robin.
Thank you, Ronnie B. So the conversation, change versus disappearance, is one of my very all-time favorites. So change versus disappearance. When you hear the word change, what is the occurring world? Do sayings come up like, what you resist persists? Change is inevitable. The only constant is change. If it ain't broke, why fix it? The more things change, the more they stay the same. Take a moment to get present to your conversations about change while I check in with Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster says, change as a verb, make or become different. As a noun, the act or instance of making or becoming different. When we look at complaints, they seem like they will never go away. We usually see a common thread, and that common thread is change. In other words, you have tried to change things. You have tried to change every aspect about the issue or complaint, and guess what? It still exists. You have complained about your weight and done everything there is to change your waistline, but nothing changes. And if it does, not for long. You have complained about your salary or the money you make, yet nothing you do seems to change anything. Let's look at the occurring world of change. Occurring world of change. Let's illustrate the occurring world of change. The circle on the screen is labeled My Persistent Issue. Imagine whatever issue you may have around love, romance, or partnership resides in that circle. As an example, you complain about losing weight, so you decide to change your diet. Now, on the next slide, you have changed your diet, and now you are no longer a circle, you are a box. You're eating a healthy diet, staying away from all those bad foods. The only problem is that after weeks of eating kale and carrots, you have barely lost any weight. So back to the complaining. Then you say, I know, I'll change. I will exercise. Ta-da! Now, on the next slide, you have changed your diet and you're walking a mile every day for exercise, feeling slimmer already. You are an octagon. Only problem is that after weeks of eating more kale greens, carrots, and smoothies while walking a mile a day, you gained weight. So, back to the complaining, and eventually you stop eating all the kale and carrots. That mile walk every day turns into playing video games, And guess what? You have changed back to the circle. When you are focusing on changing something, your actions simply keep that thing in existence. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Now, let's look at the occurring world of disappearance. When you hear the word excuse me, disappearance, what is the occurring world? Do you hear sayings like, I wish blank would just disappear? If I had blank, then all my problems would disappear and I would be free. Or even sometimes I wish I could just disappear. Take a moment to get present to your conversation about disappearance while I check in with Mr. Webster. Mr. Webster says disappearance, noun, the process or fact of something ceasing to exist or be in use. On the next slide, we see the occurring world of change. Your issues go from the circle to the box to the octagon and back to the circle. These are all geometric shapes and they're all within the same realm. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Or another way of saying it is what you resist persists. The next slide shows the occurring world disappearance. Notice the circle and the arrow labeled no change that points to nothing. We could say it points to the disappearance of the issue as an issue. No change or letting the issue be causes disappearance. I'm going to say that again. No change or letting the issue be causes disappearance. Same person with the same weight complaint says, my aunt passed away from cancer, so I decided to run in a marathon for cancer awareness in her honor. Preparing for that marathon, I lost 40 pounds, and I wasn't even trying. Wow. When you stop trying to change and let yourself be, new opportunities and possibilities arise. Ronnie B. and I are going to share something we had been trying to change, and it's disappearance. Ronnie B., would you like to go first?
Sure, I'd like to go first. And, you know, wow. No change or letting the issue be causes disappearance. Wow. And I just wanted to share that the example that we used was an actual person. That is where they had been struggling to lose weight. But one thing for me that in the world of change versus disappearance. Now, I'll just say that I was brought up old school, and what I mean by old school was in terms of work. And one of the many of the conversations that at least we had in my community and in my household was, look, do not give the man an excuse to fire you. Don't do that. So don't do stupid stuff like be late for work, be early for work, punch in, dot the I's, cross the T's. And don't, and it was that context. Well, I went to work and I got to go to work in corporate America as a computer analyst. So I had like I worked for the second largest advertising company in the world, and it was like really, I mean, really great. Leo Burnett Company out of Chicago, and at the time they were like the second largest advertising company in the world. They had big clients, Marlboro, United Airlines, McDonald's, Ho Ho Ho,
Wow.
Giant, Revlon, and General Motors. They had the big boys for those days. And so one, it was like, man, I'm blessed. I got a job that very few, I'll say, black folk at that time would have that type of position. And I knew not to mess it up. And over the years, what developed was this complaint. And the complaint was, I have to work 10 times harder than a white man to be equal. And see, that was a
Wow.
conversation that was like given to me. Look, you're going to have to work 10 times harder, so that you don't get fired, so that you'll be equal. So everything that I did was not out of, I was not a competitive person, but I knew that I had to be 10 times better just to be equal. And
Mm.
I'm working on this project, and it's the project from hell. And everything that I do that's really like great, a breakthrough, gets played down. If I make a mistake, uh, it's broadcasted everywhere. At least that's the way it occurred. I make a mistake. Oh no! But here I am. Like literally. Just this project from hell. I'm literally creating miracles around it. Well, we won't mention that, and we'll make sure that you don't go to the meeting. And I remember I'm in the office with one of the project leaders, and I'm almost in tears. And I'm literally begging him, like, man, I'm busting my behind. I'm working overtime, weekends. I'm out producing everybody 10 times better. Can I get a little respect? Just a little bit. I mean, I was in tears. It was just like, come on. Won't you just acknowledge? And that didn't happen. Looked at me stone faced, walked out. Now, I remember saying, well, you know what? This is it. And that was a resignation at that point. This is it. No matter what I tried to do, work 10 times harder, do this, wear the right clothes, go to Toastmasters, learn how to speak effectively, it didn't matter. Now, really, when I looked at it, I was like, man, like Ronnie. I even tried to convince myself that it didn't matter because I couldn't change it. And because, hey, really, I got the right kind of job. I'm making good money. I'm living the right kind of way. I'm taking care of my parents, being there for my nieces and my sisters and my family, uh, 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 being there for my fellow employees. I'm doing all the right things. And I remember this one conversation. It hit my head, and to me, it was the ultimate resignation. And that was, well, maybe one day my children, maybe one day my children, because I sure wasn't, because with all the right that I was doing,
Mm-mm.
dude, you're gonna have to work 10 times harder just to be equal.
And that's just the way it is.
And and that's just how it was.
Yep.
And that's how it was. And no matter how hard I tried to change that, I was going to be working 10 times hard. And I remember, like, man, like to be like, man, no, I don't want to be a manager because I'm already working 10 times harder. And then if I had that wasn't like an improvement. That was even worse. But it would be the right thing because I'm moving the right way. And uh, fortunately, a friend of mine took one of those transformational type of courses and said, man, go and take this transformational type of course. Give yourself a break. You deserve it, dude. I love you, man. So I went ahead and took the transformational type of course. And I remember that somewhere a little voice said to me, who told you you had to work 10 times harder? And I was like, huh? Hmm? Who what? Who told you you had to work 10 times harder? Well, hey, I'm black, the man. I got to work 10 times harder to be equal. Now, maybe somebody else, maybe one of those, Harvard educated black folks, they ain't got to, but I know my little country self, uh, you know, University of Illinois, I better work 10 times harder to be equal. Who told you that? And I remember going to work the next week, and where I had been putting in 80 hours, 100 hours, I just couldn't put in 40. Now I did my work and all that, but it would be like, well, okay, time for me to head out, and whatever wasn't done just wasn't done, and it wasn't like something I was trying to do. It just ended up being that way. And what happened was, maybe a month later, I ended up getting my dream job, making more money than I ever made. And they actually,
Wow.
the things I was creating, they were like, oh man, we need you. And, pretty much gave me like carte blanche. And I could not change that issue, but I left it alone and it left me alone. And it
Ha.
has never ever again been an issue for me. So
Wow.
that's my share on disappearance and change. Eva
Wow.
Robin.
Wow. That is really phenomenal. It was hurting my heart when you were talking about the part where you thought it was just the truth that you had to work harder just because you were black. I love it that that went away.
That's the impact already. Like, see, if I was just white, I just had to work hard.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of just want to say that this kind of thinking also gets passed along to women down through through our mothers and through the culture. So it's for all of us. I mean, that's a good example, not just both of disappearance and letting something go, but also that particular example is we could all apply that. A lot of us can apply that. Well, what I want to share about is what I often talk about during these sessions, and this one is about my husband and me, our relationship. And my husband is a wonderful, wonderful man, and the one place where we tended to have a lot of disagreements was a fairly common one, and that's money. And he and I were really, really different about money. Like, those all those stories about the ant and the grasshopper. I was the grasshopper, and he was the ant, and he was a saver, and he had, in a lot of ways, been really, really smart about money, but it didn't really have any actual freedom. So on paper, it looked really good. Like, yeah, yay, we've got savings, and we don't have to be too scared if he gets laid off or if one of us doesn't have an income for a while. But on the other hand, the experience of living was one of constraint and fear, and 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 I had been trying for years to get him to loosen up when it comes to money, like, and so we would end up in these, like, honey, it'll work out. And we even, like, at one point we ended up building a swimming pool, which my husband had resisted doing for a long time. And for me, I have scoliosis and back issues, so having a good place to swim for me is more than just recreation. It's very therapeutic. And I mean, not that there aren't other pools that I could go to, but we ended up actually building a pool, and he was freaked out the whole time. And the way that it showed up was like he hated the noise. He hated the workmen. He hated the way that it the chaos that it created around us. He hated every bit of it, and I think really what was at the heart of it was that it was hurting him to spend the money. And I kept telling him, and I kept hoping that I was right at the time. Don't worry, it's all going to turn out. And the most amazing thing happened, which was that just as the pool was getting completed, his father decided that he wanted to start liquidating his estate while he was still alive, and he literally gave us the exact amount of money that it cost to build the pool in one big chunk. And he gave us that, and it was enough to cover the little bit of landscaping and the fence and the whole bit. And it was, I think, there was started to be an opening for him. But at any rate, over time, I became more compassionate for how it was for him, and I took on just letting him be and putting myself more in his shoes and stopping fighting about it. And we have a great life, and I don't have to have every single thing right now that I want, and it's okay with me. And maybe it would help him, maybe it would set him at ease if I were to let go of trying to push on that. And so what happened was so I did that, and he requested that we set up as a money system, that we actually sit down and do our finances. And so now we've got this practice that every Sunday we sit down and we go over our money and over our budget. And I mean, his complaint was that we were spending more than he was bringing in, and he's the main breadwinner. And I kept thinking we weren't. So it would just be this argument where we didn't really know which one of us was right. We just thought so. But then we actually sat down and did the numbers, and just from doing that, and that I stopped resisting or trying to change him, he has gotten so relaxed. Like we are going to be getting a refund from our tax return, and I've been wanting for years to go to Australia. And I said, what do you think if we? And I was completely fine either way. But what do you think if we use this money to fund our plane tickets for Australia? It's like, oh yeah. And then there was some tax bill that came up, and I said, honey, do you want to rethink this and use the money to pay the taxes, which is, I think, what he would have done while I was still resisting and trying to change him. And he goes, "Oh no, let's go to Australia. Let's use the money for that."
Let's go to Australia, baby.
So that was an example of something that I really had no control over. I have no control over him. None. We don't have control over each other, even though we sometimes wish we did or try to pretend that we do. And it was just amazing when I stopped doing that, how partnership showed up. And it really was the last area where there was any contention between us. So it's been really miraculous. Like we're now partners in every aspect of our lives. Thanks to stopping trying to change things.
Wow,
Wow, that was awesome.
that was
That
awesome.
was
Yeah,
awesome.
one of
Yeah,
the
one of
God,
God.
um,
Um,
so many times we're in relationships, and somewhere we're under this delusion that we're going to be able to change the other person,
Yeah.
or we are going to change for the other person, and all we do
Right.
is just end up creating a mess. And when we let each other be, when I get present to, when we let each other be, then we just are in their space, and we're able to just appreciate them and love them for who they are and for who they aren't, and just let things work
Yeah.
out. Mm-mm.
Yeah. 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 That beautifully summed up there, Mr. Ronnie B, as one of your many talents. So let me check in with the other divas. What's present for you in the change versus disappearance inquiry? Who would like to share? Has my phone gone blank?
No, you're good.
This is a sharing group. I'm expecting everyone to want to jump in at once.
This is Diva Nikki.
Hi, Diva.
I am absorbing the change versus disappearance. So I don't really have a comment because I'm absorbing it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, it's really cool stuff, right? And kind of counterintuitive to what we're taught growing up, right?
Exactly. Well, one thing I guess I can say is in my absorption is as far as the disappearance, when you just really let things be, right? What happens when you just let things be and still have your intention? So I'm just gonna let this marinate with me for a little bit.
You are so adorable, honest to God. So you're so authentic, and that's brilliant. Sometimes the thing to do, and really what you're doing is you're letting it be. You're not trying to change where you are with it. You're demonstrating it in what you're sharing at the moment. Thank you. Anyone else? Going once? Okay. Well, thank you, Divas. We are going to take a 6-minute break. So please return at 6. It's currently 6:15 Central Time. Please return at 6:21 Central Time.
In the now. Right now is the time frame in which I live. The past is behind me. The future is ahead. So my focus is best served by living in the now, moment by moment, hour by hour. Awakened to my own divine nature, I give my attention to family and loved ones. Why put off until tomorrow the joy that today offers? Now is the time to be creative. Now is the time to explore and discover what I can do with talents and abilities. Now is the time to use the divine power of my imagination. Living in the now does not constrict me. Rather, it is a time of growth and understanding that is available to me in the present. Right now is the time frame in which I live. But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For the Father seeks such as these to worship him. John 4:23.
Here's a little bit of Vienna, 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 Vienna. Peace from my heart into yours. The world needs to hear. Love will bring us all together. Sometimes we travel light, sometimes we can't abide. For destination seems a long way from home, but that is alright. When you get to love somebody, spread a little good love, baby, yeah. Alright. Someone's gonna show you love someday. I'll give a little song for you. I wanna have good love. I wanna touch you, wanna feel good love. I wanna have good love. I wanna It's for you and me to have got to it. I wanna know, do we I wanna touch, I wanna feel loving. I wanna know, I wanna have you loving. It's for you and me. You got to have it. Spending our lifetime trying to get ahead of life, working so hard, building castles to go but upright. Hey, don't you forget, we've got to live for today. Just look around and see what you've been missing. Alright, when you get to love somebody, these are nights to love somebody. It's alright, someone's gonna show you love someday. You know that love can turn it around. I wanna know, I wanna have good love. I wanna touch you, love. I wanna touch you, I wanna know, I wanna have love. It's for you and me.
Did you get to pick the tickets for the movie next night? Yeah, get them, okay? Heart.
Well, welcome back to the final segment of tonight's webinar, the Divine Prosperity Blaster with Diva Nakia. Over to you, Diva Nakia. Now, we had Diva Nakia a minute ago, but somehow or another we seems to have lost Diva Nakia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there it goes, Diva Nakia, and that
I had
prosperity
muted
blast.
myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry. I muted myself. So welcome back. I am Nakia. I have a great Divine Prosperity Blaster for you this week. Live life well. Don't you just wish you could get it right and live life well? Some open yourself to the great possibilities of this moment and live well on this very day. If you're worried about anything, consider this. Worry is only possible when you've forgotten how strong, capable, flexible, resourceful, and resilient you can be. Remind yourself of all of the successful actions you've taken to get to this point. Implore yourself to put all that powerful capability to use today. Go ahead. Allow yourself to feel the way you'd most like to feel. Then go ahead and act. Empower own will, to do great things, empowered by your own will to do great things. Today belongs to you. And your spirit. Watch your courage as it carries you forward, giving you value to all you love. Jump far beyond mere planning, wishing, and hoping for a great life. Push yourself into positive action today and live life well in your own beautiful way. Now write the following categories because you have to have a pen and paper ready to go for the Prosperity Mind Master. Our categories tonight are love, romance, and partnership. Woohoo! Love, romance, and partnership. Now, you've gotten that written down. Under each category, write three ways. Oh, would make a difference. Under each category, write three situations for each category where living life well would make a difference. I can see your excitement. It is time to take action. Now, under each situation, write the conversations that keep you from living life well. Stop. Conversations keep you from living life well. You want to write it under each situation. Now, what conversation can you create that would empower living life well? What conversations can you create? And this is your own creation that would empower you. Of course, I'll give you some suggestions. Own creative possibility, freedom, love. And if you really think about it, we've touched on all of these areas throughout this webinar. So you have awesome examples, but we want you to create for yourself to empower you in living life well. Now, as we always keep a daily log or post daily on Facebook any results or insights, and please share with the process Divas. Actually taking action. And as always, feel free to send in a letter, an email, get in contact with us, because you never know if what you share with us will have an opportunity to be shared with the world on this show. How awesome is that? We love. We're going to take a share any from tonight's session. So, Rudy, I want you to go first this evening, if you don't mind, young man. Hola, hola, hello, hello. Mr. Ronnie, Mr. Ronnie, Mr. Ronnie.
Oh, Diva Nikia, you had broke up a little bit, and so couldn't tell what you had said there for a moment there. But
Oh, my apologies. I just made a request of you to share first.
oh no, I'm going to share last.
Okay, well, oh, no problem. Who would like to share first then, ladies? Hello, hello.
Go ahead, Diva Janice.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yes, I was getting ready to go. Thank you, Ronnie. You tapped in for a second. I had to unmute my phone as well. Uh, Tonight was just another layer in delving into number one, creating the life that one wants to live, and peeling back the layers, the things that are toxic, and we don't know that they're toxic, but just dealing with the issues. And there's one thing I can say regarding the disappearance aspect. It's imperative that we ascertain where we are in any type of relationship. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but any type of exchange where you're dealing with another person. It's imperative to know the level. If there's a commitment to be in business together, if there's a commitment to you as a person, or you commit to be in that relationship and to what degree, because it matters. And when we don't take assessment, number one, of ourselves and what we're looking for, then we can't get the results that we often desire because it's really an unspoken desire and people don't correct things by osmosis. We have to define them. So this is something that I was just assessing, listening to various conversations tonight. Number one, making a decision. What do you really want? Number one, in life, of yourself, what you're willing to commit, and what you would want committed to you. So this is what I got out of all of this tonight, and it was very rich.
Awesome share.
Well,
Sorry,
Diva Nikki,
you had broke up a little bit.
I'm still waking up. I'm sorry. So, Nikki, my love, would you like to share?
for me, I'm going to say, of course, like I said before, I am still absorbing the change versus disappearance. So yeah, so letting that absorbing that, and um, a breakthrough for me in this past week when I was with family and stuff, and actually taking on my desire and my openness for love and romance, actually sharing that openly with some family members, which I had not done so in a way like I've done before, like I've done at this time, and that was huge. Mhm. Okay, that's it.
Wow.
That
You are scary.
oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Janice, would you like to share? Is
Robin, would
Janice?
you like to share?
Oh,
Sure.
Robin?
Hi. I would like to share. This um, I've been aware of the distinction change versus disappearance, and I think had become really integrated for me in my life, but I had kind of stopped. It was not part of my awareness anymore, as as to use to use as a tool. It had been so there were, I'm sure, opportunities that I missed where I could have noticed that, oh, I've been trying to change this, and then there were opportunities that where it seemed like the natural thing to do, and it has become, like I said, it's become integrated. But sitting down here and being with that and seeing what it provides and how powerful it is, because the really one of the really fun things about the difference between change and disappearance is that even if the thing doesn't disappear, there's immediate peace when you stop trying to change it. So it's like it's its own reward, even if you're not having your eye on the end goal. So yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to delve into that and to have it brought back to consciousness so well. That's what I
Wow.
have.
Thank you for sharing. So, in listening to you ladies and just really considering everything that has been discussed tonight, what resonated with me was freedom and peace. And the conversation of change and disappearance is, like you said, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And when you transform yourself and when you get really clear in the distinction, things open up. A clear space opens up, for me at least. And as a result, I've received a new level of freedom, a new level of peace. The stress knots are disappearing. Most of them have. Ongoing process. The tension disappears. Not all of it just yet, but again, it's an ongoing process. If whatever it is that holds you down and seems to almost put you in captivity, once it's clear and you begin to allow it to disappear, there's an awakening, an opening of freedom, of space, and from there you can create. But you just be careful with what you choose to take on so you don't put yourself back into that same condition because then you're talking about change all over again. Back to our constant complaints and persistent complaints. So I love that I was listening context in the conversation as well and how we get out of that and we sorted to really be with people and be present to what was important have shared this evening and the impacts of our lives, how we adapt and conform, and how we remove those layers, those onion layers, as it was shared, and we become a whole new being. So I just loved the session this evening and all of the transparency and openness and the authenticity. And that is what makes this unique. That is what brings the listeners forth and gives them the ability and the desire and the want to take action. So thank you. Ronnie B, what's there for you?
Wow, that was awesome. And the conversation, change versus disappearance. And now I have quite a few friends, uh, loved ones, associates who I will say lean Christian. They kind of lean Christian. And if there's one thing I've heard amongst my vast community of folks who lean Christian is let go, let God. Now I'm going to tell you, most of them are about the not letting God do nothing. You know, they want to control it, fix it. Let me, no, 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 God, yeah, God, I'm gonna let go, but I got a full grip. My legs is wrapped around it. Yeah, I'm letting go, God. Uh huh, uh huh. So you could kind of look at change versus disappearance as, from that context of letting go and letting God, and actually trusting that, like God kind of got this handled. And I love the example where what you will find is that when you start creating issues that are worthy of who you are as a divine child, you will see that issues you were trying to change disappear because you have something more purposeful for you to focus on. See, when you let it be, more than likely something's going to open up and your focus and intention will go toward that. So where that issue was draining you, impacting your health, your vitality, where it was sucking out the love and the joy. Well, now you're focusing on that greater purpose that is the source of joy, love, romance, partnership. So that's really what's present for me is that in the conversation change versus disappearance, uh, letting go and letting God, and really letting give God a chance. God work. That's all I gotta say, Diva Nakia.
Awesome. Well, you were speaking my language, Ronnie, truly. So thank you all for sharing this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Wow. What an evening. So we have a couple of ways for you to stay in the conversation. Being at our next session, which is Living Wealthy, the Basics, Love, Romance, and Partnership, section 5, will be next Sunday, April 8th, 2018, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I'm acknowledging that it is 6:40 p.m. and we are ahead of schedule. Okay, awesome. Diva Janice, how can we be in your world? It is a powerful place.
Thank you, Diva Nakia. People can be in my world by touching base with me at powerfornow.com. That's power, the number four, now.com. We would love for you to engage in various conversations and contribute to the global conversation as well regarding making an impact for girls in Africa. One particular project we're working on is the Dignity Project because some girls that live in remote villages don't go to school when they're having that time of the month, and simply because they're poor, they can't afford sanitary napkins. So we have a campaign going on, and we would love to hear from the ladies because we wouldn't dare allow our daughters to miss school here in the U.S. just because of a frivolous application of sanitary napkins. So I would love to hear from the ladies. Once again, is power, the number four, now.com. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Ladies, jump in and jump on. And if you would like to learn more about Diva Nikki's wealth building programs, visit prosperousdivas.com/future wealth or email her at currencytrader@prosperousdivas.com. Miss Robin, Diva, Robin, Coach Extraordinaire, how should people contact you?
Well, I'm first of all, thank you, Janice, for what you brought up about some of the outreach and community service work that you do. So, in addition to being able to reach me through my email, which is Robin spelled with a Y, ROBYN artist at gmail.com. My motto is bring art to life. I'm an artist and a coach, and my art website is my name, robinjameson.com. And Robin is with a Y, Jameson is with an I. But I also want to mention that I'm affiliated with a wonderful program, not company, charity called Cherish Our Children International, and they have a program that is very powerfully being done in Houston called No More Victims. And No More Victims takes care of children whose parents are incarcerated and gives them possibilities in life that they really do generate themselves, though, through interacting and supporting one another through education. And so far, of the about 2,500 kids have already been through it, and I think 98% have at least graduated from high school. We had our first PhD from at Columbia. Many of the kids go to college, and we just did our first fundraiser for them here in Austin last weekend. So that we're attempting to spread it here, although it's in demand in a number of states. Anyway, it's Cherish Our Children, International No More Victims Program. I would love it if anyone wants to volunteer or donate.
Wow. Cherish Our Children International.
And Miss Robin, is Cherish Our Children still head up by Julie, formerly married to Mark Kamen?
Yeah, Julie Hall now.
It's been
She is
Julie Hall for a while, but that's all.
yeah, quite a few years. But she doesn't run it. She still definitely is a powerful part of it. But she's not the chairman of the board, and she's not the director currently. But she's definitely very involved. And she's my cousin that I found when I found my birth family.
Oh wow! I remember you sharing that. That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
Wow.
But a
See,
great program, and
yeah. It's very
I
effective.
personally done some volunteer work with them, so I
Oh,
really
cool.
appreciate the difference that they've
Can I
made.
say one more thing about them that
Sure.
has me just blown away? Um, I've met some of the people who have been through the program, and what amazes me is that this program doesn't move kids from being just in danger of having, short lives or lives that end up in jail or, lives that are just on the brink of disaster to something to where they're okay. This moves kids from being on the brink of disaster to being some of the most shining examples of humanity I've ever met. It's they are leaders, they are open-hearted, they are kind, they are generous, they are committed to other young people. They blow my mind being around them. I kid you not.
it just starts with one and
Mhm.
Yeah,
acknowledging,
no kidding.
being
Yeah,
present, in allowing our youth for
yeah. So thank you for letting me share about that.
absolutely. So thank you, ladies, for sharing. And everyone, of course, you can visit me, Diva Nakia, the Empress of Faith, for you, for you.com. You can check me out at venues in the best time, patience, cultivation.
Oh,
My
Diva Nakia, we're getting you a little bit muffled and breaking up.
what? Hey, can you hear me?
Now go for it.
Okay. So visit me at timeforyou.com, and you'll be able to check me out in some future endeavors as well. And that takes time, patience, and cultivation. So just know that I'm coming to Janice Howard, myself, Nakia Franklin, Nikki Tatlin, and co-leader Lonnie B, courtesy of the Old Money Radio Network. Please enjoy the performance at the end of the seminar tonight. And remember, mindset that can be created by anyone. Love and blessings. We're out.
Hey, what's going on, world? It's your boy, Mr. Rob Atchison. The title of the piece I'm going to do for you today is called She. I hope you enjoy it. She's a large part of my happiness, a small part of my pain. The one who drives me craziest but yet keeps me sane. She's the one who cries my tears whenever I'm ashamed. And she is her own person, but at times we are the same. She knows what's on my mind when I don't even speak. She provides me with strength whenever I am weak. She knows that I am flawed, but accepts me for me. Well, she sometimes entertains me, but mostly lets me be. And we are clearly made for one another. The Bible calls us when flesh, so we're made from each other. So when she's not around, an imbalance occurs because most of my emotions are wrapped up in hers. See, she is my prayer warrior when I'm being afflicted. She is my motivation when I need to be lifted. She's the reason I strive, I push, I grind. And there are no duplicates or replicas to find because she is an individual, the only of her kind. Only one model made, and I'm glad that she's mine. She's like a breath of fresh air when I'm slipping away. And there aren't enough words or actions I can display that can sum up her love or begin to convey how she makes me feel at the end of the day. And pressure tries to separate us, but it isn't strong enough. Because I have plans to be with her forever. And even forever isn't long enough. And sometimes I feel we take for granted what it is we got, like when we make love and our bodies say what words cannot. So to me, she's imperfectly perfect. So every argument or disagreement is perfectly worth it. She's the mother of my child, the reason why I smile, the reason I've matured and switched up my style. She makes me better. And I'm just glad that God would even let her be a part of my life. Because I was not aware that man could take angels to wife. See, she is my best friend, the one I've let in to know me. And every day she shows me I made the right decision. Now, we may not always agree, and sometimes we have head-on collisions, but I wouldn't trade her for anything in this world. There's nothing you can give me or ever unfurl that will make me open up my hand to relinquish my pearl, because she is my girl. Thank you.